Watching Colorado Representative Joe Neguse question Republicans about their legislative philosophy is the equivalent of watching the Air Force Academy cadets playing flag football against the local elementary school. Watch as he picks apart one of the Republicans' favorite topics, limited government.
You said there's too much government in selecting one's toaster, I guess, or one's refrigerator, apparently, or one's washer and dryer. You went through this litany of examples. Where do you draw the line?
Where do I draw a line on what?
Yeah, how do you see, you take issue with the federal government's role in this case with respect to the bill that you all have proposed. Where do you draw the line as to how much government is too much government?
Well, there's 17 enumerated powers in the United States Constitution, and I think government has well exceeded that. I think a return to a smaller, limited federal government is better.
Okay.
That's how our founders envisioned this.
That's helpful. That's what I was hoping you would say. You believe there's too much government in the appliances, or the selection thereof. You think there's too much government in baseball?
I don't think government has a role in baseball.
You don't think government has a role in baseball? That's fascinating. Are you familiar with the Competition in Professional Baseball Act?
Well, there's some antitrust laws.
No, I didn't ask you that. I asked if you're familiar with that bill. I mean, I hope you'd be familiar with it because it's your bill.
I am, yeah.
Right? Yeah. You authored the Competition in Professional Baseball Act. That bill does what? It amends the Clayton Act to ultimately eliminate one of the antitrust exemptions that exists for professional baseball. You're familiar with the Clayton Act, yes?
I am.
And the Clayton Act is designed to do what? Protect consumers, is that right? Is the Clayton Act part of the 17 enumerated powers of the federal government under the Constitution as you see it, that you hold so true and fast to?
Watching Neguse go to town like this raises the question, how can Colorado elect someone this brilliant in one district and someone as dim-witted as Lauren Boebert in the other? Because instead of theatrics, Neguse's questioning here is surgical. The precision and insight that he brings to the absurdity and the hypocrisy behind these limited government and what the founders envisioned concepts is simply stunning. Both the level of preparation and the depth of Neguse's questioning leave nowhere for Republicans to hide. His meticulousness exposes the absurdity of trying to argue what the founders envisioned. I'll tell you what the founders did not envision. They did not envision a mass society, nor an industrial society, nor rapid transit, modern medicine, or space travel. And yet, here we are. What the founders did envision was a society that evolved over time, and the necessity for government to adapt to it. But in addition to exposing the absurdity of Republican legislative philosophy, Neguse exposes the hypocrisy that undergirds their agenda. As we see here, Republicans are always posturing for smaller government, less government regulations, and the rights of the individual, until it's time for them to advocate for the government to regulate things they don't like. Republicans don't seem to mind the government regulating what a woman can do with their body, nor do they mind regulating a woman's right to travel just so they can make sure they have complete oversight over what a woman does with her body. They also don't mind regulating who can use what bathroom and what kind of clothing people should wear when reading to children. And of course, when it comes to freedom of speech, it only applies if you don't say gay. The list of hypocrisy over government regulation and oversight is as long as the line of people waiting to see Trump behind bars. But pointing out hypocrisy is not enough. Exposing them never has any impact because Republicans have no shame over being hypocritical. They are playing a win-at-all-cost strategy, and that is what's at stake here. All the posturing and pandering is a game that hides their anti-democracy, pro-fascist agenda, and the MAGA movement came right on time to help them achieve it. Republicans and their MAGA movement don't want to govern. They want to wield power and oppress the people they don't like. And there's a lot of people they don't like. People of color, immigrants, LGBTQ plus people, the homeless, intellectuals, scientists, and in general, people who are smarter than them. So in other words, your average seventh grader. And especially when we are talking about the MAGA movement, it's not enough to call these people out. They are driven by rage and the desire for revenge. Reason is not a part of their equation, nor their agenda. And as long as Republican leadership is going to pander to the MAGA movement, critical reason seems absolutely incapable of saving our democracy. But what Colorado Representative Joe Neguse demonstrates so clearly is that we fundamentally cannot cede that ground. We must continue to shine the light of reason into the darkness of hypocrisy, absurdity, and stupidity. We not only have to hold the high ground, we have to hold the middle ground, or there'll be no ground left for any of us to stand. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.